I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Morgan, may we have the roll call, please?
Present.
Here.
Here.
Here. Present. Item 1.4, we're going to have a presentation from Consociate Media. Welcome.
Dr. Daniel, when you said it would be early in the evening, I didn't know it was going to be right away, so that's perfect. Good evening, everybody. I'm Stephanie Heinitz with Consociate Media, and we've had the pleasure over the last few months to be working with Matthews County Public Schools to develop a new brand identity for the school system. And I want to start out by saying that a brand with any organization we work with, whether it's a nonprofit or a government entity or a for-profit business, a brand is not your logo, it's not your website, it's not your images, it's actually the promise that you make to the people that you serve. And in the case of a school system, you all have made an incredible promise to the community of Matthews to educate and nurture our children. I'm a Gloucester girl, so I say our children because I feel like I'm a neighbor. But a logo and a brand identity and how you look to the world is very important. And so what I'm going to show you tonight is the project that we've been working on with Dr. Daniel and your team across all three schools to develop a new visual identity and the storytelling around Matthews Public Schools in an effort to help maybe stem the tide of enrollment reductions and to help get people really excited about the school system. Because if there's one thing that we've learned in working with you all is that people are really proud to have gone to Matthews schools. They're really proud to be part of the Matthews school system, and we wanted to put something together that really celebrated that. Our awesome mic, it worked. I didn't mess it up. So the first slide that I'm showing you is we're really delighted to present the new logo and visual identity for Matthews County Public Schools. We wanted it to be something that was very much illustrated the important parts of Matthews County. As you can see, the shield represents something that's more prestigious, that it alludes to higher education, and that's sort of prevalent across all different types of educational institutions. The water is such an incredibly important part of Matthews County, of the Middle Peninsula. So there's a water and there's horizon pieces in the logo. The colors of blue and yellow are really iconic to the community and to the Matthews County school system, so we included those as well. And you can't think of Matthews without thinking about the New Point Comfort Lighthouse, right? And a lighthouse was in your old logo as well, so we included that too. When you look at your logo program, you have the main shield, but as you can see on the slide, there are four different ways that you might see the logo actually in use. And I'll show you some slides later on where you can actually see it, like we call it, in the wild. As part of this project, not only did we want to showcase Matthews County Public Schools in a new way with your logo and your visual identity, but we wanted to capture the essence of the kids and the students that are in your schools. So myself and our photography partner, we spent a whole day up here within all of the schools. So you all now have an incredible portfolio of images that show just how special the schools, the educators, the students, the fact that we had the tiger come out and greet everybody the day we were there at the elementary school was really incredible. We also went to middle school, of course, and there's a whole library of images that hopefully you all will start to see layering out soon. We're going to be using these images to help tell the story of the school system. They'll be going on the website and some materials that'll go out to parents and to prospective families that are considering moving to the area or bringing their kids back into the school system. I have to tell you, the kids at the high school were so much fun. Every time we passed somebody in the hallway, we got a hello, welcome, a yes ma'am, a no ma'am. So, and they had no idea who we were. So the fact that they were being so courteous, I think, is a great testament to the school system. With the new brand identity, you'll start to see some of the everyday materials go out to start to represent what we've put together. So stationery, business cards, we're working on buttoning those pieces up now. We are very excited to hopefully see some apparel. We would love to see people really proud of the Matthews County Public School System and wearing it and really showcasing the logo out in the wild, as we say. There's some next steps. So we're still buttoning up a few things. The logo was the biggest piece, and getting on campus and photographing the students before they left for the summer was a big effort. But we are going to be making some updates to the website, so you'll start to see this new look and feel across the site, then images as well. We are working on some feature stories on some of the key team members that you all have in all of the different schools. That part of the photo shoot was really exciting because we got to actually talk to the students and talk to the educators and learn about some of the really cool things that are happening in all of the schools. There will be some print marketing materials that we're putting together as well. And we call them marketing materials, which sometimes can feel weird when you're talking about a school system, but you are marketing to the community. You're marketing to keep people in the schools. You're marketing to keep families in Matthews, not going to an independent system. So we want those pieces to be available for the administration to use when talking to folks. The other thing is, schools are such an important component of a strong economic development strategy, and to have and to be able to showcase what is happening in our education system is going to be of benefit to the economic development department as well. So those materials will be able to be utilized for that. Email templates, so anytime our superintendent is emailing out or our principals are emailing out, we'll have a consistent look and feel for that as well. And then we're planning on launching in August, and we've been coming up with some plans to help the teachers celebrate the new visual brand and the new identity when they get back on campus. And then hopefully the fall we'll have the whole community excited about it. And that was it. I'm ready for questions or comments or anything else.
I'll make maybe. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I was born and raised here and went to Matthews County Public Schools, and I think you've done a super job covering it all. Thank you.
That means the world. Thank you. Told y'all are proud of your schools and of your community. I told Dr. Daniel, my mama and dad live in Cobbs Creek, and I'm going there for dinner tonight, so she was very happy that I had an evening meeting in Matthews. So.
A wonderful job. I think it's very impressive, and I'm looking forward to seeing it launched and in action.
We are too.
Ms. Hodges?
Okay. Yeah. Again, thank you. This is wonderful. Really pops. So again, thank you. But I want everybody to know that the funding for this came from private donations. It was not public monies. So I just want to make sure people are aware of that. But thank you to you and your colleagues.
I want to thank you. I've had several relatives that were lighthouse keepers there.
Oh, we need to talk then. I want to tell that
So
story too.
that pays homage to them.
I'll just follow up one point to Ms. Hodges. The Matthews Women's Giving Circle was the entity or the group that contributed to this project. So it was a grant proposal, and they were able to, through their generosity, make this partnership happen. So that's where the donation came from.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Morgan?
I too, I too am a native of Matthews, product of Matthews County Public Schools quite a few years ago. But I would like to thank you for your work, your efforts. I think what I've seen this evening does reflect Matthews. And thank you so much.
Well, that means the world, and I'm glad that it does reflect it. Thank you. I can't wait to see it on some hats on some kids walking through the schools. That's going to be the ticket.
We'll do it. Are there any more questions from the board or comments? Thank you very much, and have a wonderful dinner with your parents.
Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you. Moving on to item 1.5, the adoption of resolution appointing Leslie R. Hunley to serve in absence of division superintendent at school board meetings. May I have a motion?
I make the motion to adopt the resolution appointing Leslie R. Hunley, Assistant Superintendent, to serve in the absence of the division superintendent at school board meetings as written.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 1.6, appointment and bonding of school board deputy clerk and school board clerk. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the reappointment and bonding of Sharon F. Morgan as school board clerk and Stephanie A. Lau as school board deputy clerk until December 31st, 2024.
Do I have a
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 1.7, approval of agenda additions and deletions. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as listed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 1.8, approval of minutes for June 18th, 2024 regular monthly meeting and the June 27th, 2024 end-of-year special meeting as written. May I have a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes of the June 18th, 2024 regular meeting, the June 27th, 2024 end-of-year special meeting as written.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 1.9, Matthews County School Board Governance and Norms and Protocols. And we have an attachment here. And as you all know, we go through every month and we read 2 points each meeting. Mr. Dobson, would you please read our highlighted points tonight?
Responding to the staff or community complaints at board meetings. Board members will not engage in dialect during the public comment section of the board meeting. Responding to staff or community complaints outside of the board meetings. Board members will listen and refer the community member through the appropriate channel of communication with the school division, teacher, principal, central office administrator, superintendent. The board member will let the superintendent know of the conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Dobson. Do we have any comments from the board on the 2 points? Thank you. Item 2, citizens' questions, comments, or requests. Item 2.1, comments not pertaining to personnel or student matters. Protocol for public comment period. The citizens wishing to speak should sign up with their name and address on the sheet provided. Each individual will have 3 minutes to speak. All comments should be directed to the school board. Speakers shall not address matters involving students or personnel, as these topics may violate confidentiality and are not appropriate in a public forum. Public comment is the school board's opportunity to listen to the speaker. Since our purpose is to hear from you, the board will not engage in dialogue with the audience or whomever is at the podium. Matters requiring a response will be directed to the superintendent for research and response. The superintendent may report back on such matters at a subsequent business meeting session as appropriate. The school board carefully considers your comments when deciding on matters brought before us. We appreciate your attendance and your input. We do have 2 individuals signed up this evening. Ms. Amy Bohannon-Stewart.
Good evening, Amy Bohanna-Stewart, and now I am just a concerned taxpayer. My daughter recently graduated from Matthews High School, and the staff did a fabulous job with graduation. I have always found your guidance counselors at Matthews High School helpful, and the Matthews High School Guidance Department deserves to be complimented for a job well done. I would also like to publicly thank those that had any part in after prom. There were an army of volunteers helping the night of and throughout the year. They are too numerous to name. Mary Jack Camp did head that up this last year, and I really appreciate her taking this on. And many local businesses donated to after prom, and as the parent of a recently graduated senior, I'm really thankful for that. I am very worried about some things for future students in Matthews, though. On my mind tonight is the principal position at Thomas Hunter Middle School. Thomas Hunter Middle School has been neglected for 2 straight years now, so it is no surprise that a massive amount of the Thomas Hunter Middle School staff decided to work elsewhere for the 24-25 school year, or they retired. Why do we continue to neglect Thomas Hunter Middle School by not appointing a principal? Since we have 2 superintendents and no principal at Thomas Hunter right now, how does that work with summer school? Has been in session for a couple of weeks. If we have students in the building for summer school, shouldn't we have a principal in charge? I emailed Dr. Daniel about this. Hopefully I will get some answers on this soon. I would logically think that one of our superintendents, since we have 2, would just take their computer on over to the front office at Thomas Hunter and do their work there and have their calls forwarded there in case, they are needed, because there's no principal there. So I have one final thing that I would like to add tonight, separate topic. I have noticed that we tie up 2 tech support people with our school board meetings with long sessions, long closed sessions, because we've been streaming meetings. And this transparency step was definitely necessary, but perhaps you could do closed sessions before the public meeting, and maybe it wouldn't be necessary to tie up 2 tech support people, and I guess we also tie up 2 clerks with having a long closed session in between the beginning and the end of the meeting. So just something to think about to save your employees some time. And so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bohannon Stewart. Our next individual is Mr. William Ware.
Good evening. My name is William Charles Ware. It is also nice to meet you, or to see you again tonight. Since the last time I saw you, at the beginning of the year, I have become a petty officer 2nd class, which is the highest rank I can achieve as a freshman for last year. I've also earned 8 ribbons. Those 8 ribbons are the Military Aptitude Award, Naval Science 1 Award, the Exemplary Conduct Award, the Exemplary Personnel Appearance Award, the PT Award, the Participation Award, the Community Service Award, and the CEO's Cup Award. We have 3 other cadets, including 1 cadet entering the program as a freshman. Those 2 cadets that participated last year are Zachary Salvadori and John Bachet. Zachary Salvadori has all the same ribbons as I do. However, on his PT ribbon, he's earned it 4 times, giving him 3 bronze stars. He achieved honor roll, and he is a petty officer 3rd class. John Bachet, he has 2 ribbons. He has his community service ribbon and his CEO's Cup ribbon, and he is a seaman. The program has lots of successes, and there is some improvement. Some of the successes of the program include achieving over 300 hours of community service within the Matthews students. Improvement of leadership skills and providing more opportunities into public speaking. First aid and CPR is a huge help, and the improvement of life skills utilization is also very important. But most importantly, it is positive because it teaches us respect and humbleness. These are all great successes of the program. However, the program does have room for improvement. One of the areas of improvement is our communication. For example, one of our guidance counselors wanted to be at the end of the year NJRC ceremony. And due to lack of communication, she was unaware of it. So a solution to this problem is I was thinking I could be the liaison for the program communicating back and forth between Matthews and Gloucester. And I would relay information back monthly or as needed. For the second area of improvement is we need more opportunities for recruiting. In the Matthews side of people, we are very scarce of cadets. And last year, we didn't really have that many recruiting opportunities. So this year, to resolve the issue, we as a program would look more days both inside and outside of school to recruit. For example, an outside of school could be setting up a table down in the Mayfair, or having a moment to speak at the Thomas Hunter during their parent nights. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you again at the start of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ware. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? With no one else wishing to speak, we'll move to item 3, the superintendent's informational reports. Item 3.1. Oh, I'm sorry, 2.2, school board comments. Skipped right over us. I'm sorry. I'm sure Mr. Dobson has something to say.
Zach, right? Okay. Other words, what you're saying is our people at Matthews are not talking to the Gloucester people about what's going on with ROTC? Is that what you're saying? And do you get kids in the hallway to come up and talk to you about the program at all?
I do not.
Not at all?
No, not at all.
How aware are most of them of this program? I heard you say they were scared or...
No. The cadets in the program are very scarce or scarce in Matthews.
Why scared?
Scarce.
Scarce.
Oh, scarce. Okay, I have hearing problems. Okay, I understand that. Are we putting the word out? I was hoping, knowing that you were in the program, I was hoping some of the kids would ask you about it, but none of them do that.
There are a lot of high school students who ask me about it, but I don't get any comments from eighth graders.
Unless they go up and ask, how's the word get out about this program?
Well, it shows on our uniform. That's one way it spreads around.
Do you wear the uniform when you go to Matthews?
I do.
Good.
It's
I like that.
mandatory on our uniform days to wear it all day long.
Okay, that's good. This program, it took years to get us into it. And right now, the first group, we had 2. We absorbed 1 from Gloucester, which made 3. And unless I was given wrong information, we have 1 additional for this year. And I was hoping we'd have a better participation in this program. I know a lot of people don't know a lot of things about the military, but it affords a lot of opportunities to young people. You may get in, do 3 years, and get out, which is the norm. You leave, when you leave with those 3 years, you leave with a skill. Most likely you'll be more disciplined and you'll work in the workplace better. When I retired, I had 22 years in. People love to hire military people because 1, they're disciplined. 2, they have good work habits. So if you do stay and you go through the years, when you retire, most likely you will get hired by a good firm. Okay? And I don't think a lot of people are aware of it. I even put out in the music, one of the music things I went to, I talked to the band and let the band know that they could go in the military playing their instrument. And that's their job, to play the instrument. You can do 20 years. If you're a real musical person, You can do 20 years in the military and retire for playing your instrument. Now, I don't know how many people know that, but even if you don't join active duty, if you join the reserves, you put a couple years in, and you're going to get money to go to college. I think you can get up to $60,000 for college if you go in through the National Guard program. So there's a lot of opportunities that are afforded there, and I don't know if the young people in the school really know it. But
If I may, Mr. Dobson, excellent points. And I do think that Mr. Ware was communicating suggestions
Yeah.
of how to do some outreach
Yeah.
to the students and to the community to build awareness. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had a couple of suggestions. Can you repeat those for us?
A couple of suggestions are setting up a table at the Mayfair and having them speak here at Thomas Hunter during the current nights.
These are great suggestions, and I don't see any reason why we can't work with you on developing those. Board?
Yeah.
There was one opportunity. We were being down here during our lunch period and trying to bring some people. And we had lanyards and a couple of other things, as well as like some of Zach's father's items up there as well for display in the actual meeting. And we had like competitions to win things, and that's how we can get people to join.
Excellent. Ms. Hodges?
Yeah.
keep up the good work.
Thank you, excuse me, thank you for taking the time to come and give us an update. I think you'll find that anytime there's a new program, there's always going to be some hiccups in it, some challenges, which you've addressed tonight, which you talked about, especially as is happening now. Matthew's kids are going over to Gloucester, and so that is a whole nother layer of communication that needs to occur. I would suggest that you talk with the principal at the high school and share some of your ideas with him to see how you can engage maybe next year when they sign up for classes like you suggested at the 8th grade. And you have some great ideas, maybe part of the morning announcements every now and then, give updates, but I think that if you talk to the principal, that you and he could probably come up with some great ideas about how to raise this up at the high school level.
Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
And Dr. Grieve is here.
Yeah.
And nodding.
Yes, yeah. And well, I don't know, I want to say something about Ms. Bohannon Stewart's, but let's, what Zach's stating, we'll address him.
Zach, thank you so much. What you've accomplished is great, and hats off to you. Another thought is market days here in Matthews in September. That might be a time, and of course, the high school has a newsletter that goes out, so that's another opportunity as well you might want to explore. Thank you.
I do apologize. My name is William. That's it.
Right. You referred to Zach, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My fault. I said yes to Dobson's question.
I'm sorry.
Well, like Mr. Dobson, I have some challenges with hearing as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Ms. Bohannon Stewart, thank you for raising up about the closed session before the meeting. That's something we did talk about many years ago, and I can't remember the reason we did not do that, but I think you raised some really valid points about people sitting here waiting for us as we're in closed session. So I think that's worthy of us discussing at some point. So thank you.
Well, absolutely, and it's funny because your ears must have been burning. I mean, Dr. Daniel, did I not just mention that before we sat down to the meeting, that we needed to consider tightening up our closed sessions because it is impacting others, and we need to be considerate of everyone and run things as efficiently as we can. So we are looking at that. Any other comments from the board? No, we can move on. All right. Now we'll move on to item 3, superintendent's informational reports.
Okay, so I know several of our teachers in the audience don't want to think about it just quite yet, but our opening day convocation is scheduled for Wednesday, August 14th at 11 o'clock in the Harry M. Ward Auditorium at Matthews High School. Lunch will follow at 12 noon in the cafeteria. But the Board of Supervisors, County Administrator, Sheriff, and School Board members are all invited to attend. Some other just additional information for board members. We've had 2 compressors fail at Matthews High School. That's a significant impact, not only to the climate at Matthews High School. I mean, they've worked to kind of make it as comfortable as possible with the remaining compressor, but that fix is not a cheap one. There's also a fan motor that's out at the high school. I think that's part of the auditorium complex, which is slightly different than the rest of where the 2 compressors are held. So we're working to get those things, but those are significant HVAC repairs. It's also of note, we, not that this is apropos of anything, but we did switch vendors for our preventative maintenance and a cost-saving move. So we're going with a different vendor going forward for the next year. They've been responsive in addressing the needs and getting fixes in place to make it work as best as we can while the compressors are ordered. It's about a 4-week lead time to get the compressors in and installed, but they've been responsive to our requests. A little football update. We've had between 24 and 30 players coming out regularly for football. There's been some, I think the athletic department has done a good job of communicating what the schedule looks like, but I just want to reiterate that the team is scheduled for a 5-game season. That's intentional to make sure that we have a successful season. There's enough time for, again, 24 to 30 students first time playing football to have time in between games. Recovery, they were very strategic about the opponents that we were scheduling to make sure that we weren't going out and being uncompetitive, shall we say. So it's been very intentional, very deliberate. Dr. Grieve, Miss O'Neill, other staff members at the high school have been working to revitalize this program. So there's a good amount of excitement and enthusiasm. I also understand that there is a meeting later this week, I believe, to have a discussion, conversation about trophy case. I think Ms. O'Neill is heading that up and has invited some community initials, a couple community partners to then look at how to build kind of a broader team approach to fundraising or at least addressing the trophy case at Matthews High School. I know that's been some of our conversation points. I just wanted to give you all an update on some of those items. While it's been a busy summer, it's also been slow on some other fronts. So there's a lot of intensity on some items, but not a lot of a multitude of items, I guess, shall we say. So that's why it's a relatively short superintendent's report tonight.
Under your finance, when you look under what the boosters have done for football, they've been very active. They have raised, I don't know how much of this they raised recently or if some of this was left over, but they had a total of $10,294 in their fund. That's a lot of money.
So I think the boosters have contributed, my understanding, the athletic boosters contributed, I believe, upwards of $14,000 towards the athletics program at the high school.
Yeah, well, this
through their
is
fundraising efforts.
This is what was in the report, okay? Also talking about the report, we've had some insurances go up on us that we should have caught beforehand. So we're over on some of the insurance bills already that's been paid. And we got another bad situation with leave payout. The schools, the food part no money was scheduled for leave payout, and you spent $14,403 already there, according to the report.
Some of that's carryover from last year, from FY24. So some
I
of
thought
that,
that was closed out.
well, some of that leave payout we pushed until FY25.
Okay.
So that's where some of that is kind of I won't say carryover, but making sure that's, we just needed to push it to FY '25.
Ms. Hodges?
And I think it's always difficult to anticipate what that's going to be because you really do not know how many people are going to be leaving in a given year. So that's always a challenge to try to anticipate what that might be. And I would also say with regard to things like insurance, you might see one month that it's really a big expense, but it could be that that's the year's expense. So it should catch itself up over the next several months. And that's what you're going to see, especially at the beginning of the year. You'll see some once a year or twice a year expenses. Thank you.
Dr. Daniel, on our notes here, we have a mention of the 8th grade move update. If you have anything to speak on regarding that.
I don't remember if I've highlighted this last month or not, but the high school has worked pretty diligently on their master schedules. So the plan right now is for a separate 8th grade lunch. There are a couple classes, depending on kind of an 8th grader may be scheduled in some specific classes, but for the most part the high school is moving from 2 lunch blocks to 3 lunch blocks to accommodate kind of having a second, or rather an 8th grade specific lunch block. We talked, I believe, last time about classrooms being in the same general proximity within the high school. Obviously, 8th grade students, if they're going to some of their elective classes, those elective classes are going to be on the other part of the building, but their core classes are going to be located in close proximity to one another and also in close proximity to the front office. So they're going to be kind of in that front kind of U area, kind of around the media center. The high school administrators and the counseling office has been working to refine the master schedule, looking at creative ways to add sections of classes to address needs and desires for different levels of classes. That is still ongoing. They're still having conversations with teachers. They're looking to balance some class sizes and things along those lines. So I think they've come up with some possible solutions. They're working through those. And then I think they'll establish some of the open house days and some of the kind of orientation stuff a little bit later. So I mean, that's, I think, some of the general highlights right now.
Is there a timeline on knowing, so that everybody knows what's going on when? Do we have kind of an end date on that, what to expect for parents and students?
I don't have that right now, but I can get that and we can work on kind of pushing that out ASAP.
I think that's good. The sooner they know, the better. And we did have another note about the community textbook review process being completed. I just wanted to be the community to know that that happened and that it finished, and we'll go on.
Yeah, sorry. So the comments have been forwarded to board members. It's part of the executive content. So what's, I guess, feedback on existing textbooks. We had, I think, a citizen come and submit some feedback on that. So that has been shared with the board through the executive content on board docs.
And then citizens providing comments are acknowledged by the school board office in letter form?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, great. Do you have anything else?
I do not know.
Okay. All right. All right, moving on to item 4, the school board informational reports. So 4.1, tomorrow we'll be having our summer work session, as everyone knows, July 17th, 2024, from 9 to 3 in the Chesapeake Bank Community Room. Please arrive, by the way, members, please arrive by 8:45 to make sure that the computers are all up and working. We'll start sharply at 9. We have a full agenda. Item 4.2, school board conferences and webinars, past and future. Please take a look at this if there's anything that's upcoming. We do have a couple of things due in the next few months from Mr. Morgan and Mr. Dobson on COIA, and Mr. Dobson on FOIA. So be mindful of that, and thank you, Ms. Morgan, for keeping us all informed on our educational needs. Item 4.3, board and committee reports by school board members and superintendent. So we have our Board of Supervisors meetings. Ms. Hodges will be deferring to Mr. Dobson for July's meeting. So there will be a change there. And we have the rest of the year planned out. As everyone understands where they are. August is Ms. Diggs, September is Mr. Morgan, October is myself, November is Mr. Dobson, and December is Mr. Morgan attending the Board of Supervisors meetings. All right. And item 4.4, finally, I just wanted to make a note that on July 15th, that was Monday, that was yesterday, the Board of Supervisor Chair, Vice Chair, and County Administrator met with myself, Ms. Hodges, and Dr. Daniel for our first leadership meeting that we will be holding between the two boards. We will be having these meetings monthly, probably at least monthly. It was a general meeting for lasting just over 1 hour. It was an excellent meeting where we started to really talk about needs at the schools and having the county understand those needs and having us understand their responses to those needs. It was an excellent dialogue, and I look forward to much productive interaction to come from that in the future as we get more involved with details. Item 5, action items. Item 5.1, the setting of regular monthly school board meetings. Date, time, and location, July through December 2024. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the regular monthly school board meetings from July to December 2024 as listed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 5.2, approval of revised Matthews County Board Policy File BCA. And we can, just a very brief description of File BCA. That is the school board organizational meeting policy. And there is one word change to this policy, and it is within the last sentence of the policy, and the sentence is, the board's annual organizational meeting is held in January. That is the only change. Prior had been July. May I have a motion?
I make a motion that we adopt the school board organizational meeting policy as written.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 5.3, the approval of request for use of school buses and drivers from Matthews County Market Days, Inc. May I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve usage of school buses for market days, Matthews County Market Days.
I'll just make a note that school buses and drivers,
Can't use the bus without the driver.
right? Well, just as listed, though. Okay. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes. Mr.
We
Morgan.
approve the use of school buses and drivers for various functions, not just market days. The school division, I'm understanding, is being reimbursed for these expenses. Am I correct?
That is correct. So Mr. Royals communicates with whoever the requesting entity is and informs them of what the charges are going to be based on, like the amount of hours, distance, et cetera.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 5.4, approval of payment of monthly claims. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the monthly claims as listed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Under page 4, the vendors pay list, first group, under U.S. Treasury, we paid $816. What was that for?
I think it was FICA, wasn't it? It seems to me it was like taxes, quarterly taxes, it seems to me, but I'm not sure if my memory's correct.
That is for the recording fee. That is a required fee that we pay at the end of each year for ACA compliance.
Okay. That's all I want to know, because what caught my eye was the U.S. Treasury. And I didn't think we were paying anything into them.
Right, any further discussion?
Yeah, one additional. I know that we're going to use the SBMA for the new,
Strategic plan development?
right. And I see it was listed in there, so we've paid ahead of time? There was a $5,000 bill to the SBMA. Did we pay ahead of time for that?
She's checking. She's checking.
She's checking.
I don't like paying ahead. You should pay when service is rendered.
I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I can certainly get the bill and let you know what that one is for.
I just want to know what it's for, that's all.
It is for the upcoming
Is
strategic
it?
plan development session that's happening at the end of this month. I believe that needs to be paid after services are rendered. I believe that is part of the quote. But,
Yeah, usually you pay when services are rendered.
right,
They
and there are
haven't been rendered
subsequent
yet,
charges
so.
with that fee as well,
Yeah.
including travel and accommodation expenses, which.
Okay.
So, Ms. Lau, maybe we have some detail on that when you're able? Thank you. Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 6, citizens' comments on items discussed during the meeting. Do we have anyone who would like to approach the podium for any reason? Please state your name and address.
Good evening, my name is Sharon Fry, Port Hayward, Virginia, and I just wanted to say how impressed I was with our young cadets' journey so far. What an awesome program, and I hope more students will get involved. I also would like to tell Mr. Greaves that we have a national night out in Matthews County on August 13th, and we might be able to set up a table that night. I know our triad committee is setting up a table, so might be, before school starts. And thank you all for your service.
Great idea. Thank you, Ms. Fry. Anyone else like to approach the podium?
Jean Howard with C&J Farm, an educational farm here in Matthews, and also representing the Matthews Kiwanis Club. We have a small school, and so we're really looking at, we had a big meeting last week, we're really looking at combining a lot of things, like having the Key Club be part of Envirothon, which is a big thing, having a team within the Key Club for that, and also working with the ROTC. I've been having a lot of the kids come out to the farm and work, and make a little summer money and just kind of learn some skills. And my husband's retired Coast Guard, and so he comes out at lunch when all the guys are over there working and talks military with them, and it's just being a good win-win. I just want you to know that we all are trying to help make our schools a better community. Thank you.
And you do that, Ms. Howard. Thank you. Does anyone else want to approach? Okay. There being none, we'll move to item 7, school board member reports. Do any of the members have any comments they'd like to make tonight?
Yes, I don't have any real reports, but I do have some comments regarding one topic I heard mention here just a short time ago about having some trophy cases built for, I guess, the high school, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's great. Let me clarify two things right up front before I go on. I very much support our athletes, 100% support our athletes, and I also 100% support our CTE department. In hearing about the trophy case possibility or proposition, I'll go back to, I guess it was 2020, or maybe early 21. It was during the COVID period. And the athletic director at the time had asked me, I was at the current, at that time, the carpentry teacher at the high school, and it had talked to me, and we had started to put some numbers together about building some trophy cases. And then, of course, COVID hit, and you guys know the rest of that story. So it just sort of died on the vine. But I would like to just throw out a comment or a suggestion that if we're looking at spending money on trophy cases, which I support, don't misunderstand me, I support, I think maybe it would be in everyone's best interest to at least run it by the carpentry teacher for his opinion and comments. Maybe that's a project for the students, maybe not. But I think it should be explored. It's just my feeling. I think we should explore that. We're always looking for projects for our students. And I think that could possibly be one that would get them engaged. A lot of the carpenter students are also athletes, so it could be something that really gets them involved. The other thing, in Dr. Daniels' weekly report to board members, there was mention of I guess a boat building project that the carpentry teacher has discussed. Once again, 100% support that. I'm not criticizing anyone. I just feel like if we're going to do something like that, we need to be certain that we are meeting the requirements of the state curriculum and satisfying the competencies, the task competencies listed for that particular course. Once again, please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying we should be cautious and make sure we are meeting the requirements that are necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Any other points from members?
I spoke with the president of the PTO this week, the newly formed PTO over at the elementary school, and they are preparing to help out. Not on. To help out at the beginning of school and further on. Everyone, of course, is invited to join, and they have much information. They'd love to have your input and help. Thank you.
More comments? I just have one thing to mention. You may have noticed that this month, July, being the only month of the school year where we did not have a student achievement update, and that that was an agreed upon decision from last year. However, once we have an established strategic plan, which is going to be developed at the end of this month, and going forward, that is the document that we're going to be driving all of our actions off of. We will have plenty of data related to student achievement to discuss. So I would just prepare to have 12 months of student achievement reports for our school board meetings. So in case you missed it, never fear, it's coming right back. That is our number one objective. Okay. If there are no more comments, we will move into closed meeting. May I have a motion with a reading of closed meeting?
I make a motion to enter closed meeting in accordance with the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.2-3711. Discussion or consideration of personal matters, professional appointments, staff appointments, volunteer coach appointments, exemption from compulsory attendance for religious reasons.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. We are now in closed session. We're back in the business meeting. May I have a motion to re-enter?
So move.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Morgan, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Present.
Present.
Here.
Yes.
Yes. Item 9.2, approval of personnel action. May I have a motion? May I have a motion?
I so move that we approve personnel action as discussed in the closed meeting.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 4-1. Item 9.3, approval of parental request for students' release from compulsory attendance for religious reasons. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve, thank you, the parental request for release of students from compulsory attendance for religious reasons as listed.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Item 10, other business by school board members or superintendent. Item 10.1, just a reminder again that tomorrow is our work session. Please arrive no later than 8:45 to make sure that your computer is set up. We will begin promptly at 9. The agenda is lengthy, so we will be keeping on pace. We have a lot to cover. Item 10.2, just another reminder from Dr. Daniels' comments about opening day convocation is Wednesday, August 14th, 11 a.m. at the Harry M. Ward Auditorium at Matthews High School with lunch at 12 noon in the high school cafeteria. And I hope we'll all be there in attendance. Item 10.3, our next regular monthly meeting will be Tuesday, August 20th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Harry M. Ward Auditorium at Matthews High School. We will be shifting the venue for that meeting. Do we have any other comments or information? There being none, this meeting is now adjourned.